What if one of the greatest civilizations in human history vanished without a single king's tomb, without massive armies, and without leaving behind a readable written language? What if an advanced society, larger than both ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia at its peak, simply faded into history, leaving behind only silent cities buried beneath layers of earth? For nearly 4,000 years, the world forgot that the Indus Valley Civilization had ever existed. Its magnificent cities remained hidden until archaeologists accidentally uncovered them in the early 20th century. According to research conducted by the UNESCO and the British Museum, the Indus Valley Civilization flourished between approximately 2600 and 1900 BC, covering more than 1 million square kilometers and supporting perhaps 5 million people at its height. It was one of the largest civilizations of the ancient world, yet its greatest mystery remains unsolved. Even today, no one has successfully deciphered its script, and that means the people who built these extraordinary cities have never been able to tell us their own story. Before we begin, tell me where you're watching from, and let me know in the comments which ancient civilization fascinates you the most: Egypt, Mesopotamia, Greece, Rome, the Maya, or the Indus Valley Civilization. I read every comment, and I'd love to know your thoughts. Now imagine yourself standing more than 4,000 years ago. The first rays of the morning sun rise over the fertile plains of the Indus River. The air is cool. Birds circle above endless green fields nourished by seasonal floods. Farmers guide oxen through rich soil while merchants prepare their carts for journeys stretching hundreds of miles. Beyond the farmland rises a remarkable sight. A city unlike anything the ancient world had seen. Wide streets intersect each other at perfect right angles. Rows of carefully built brick houses stand neatly aligned. Covered drainage systems run beneath the roads. Public wells provide clean water. Every building appears to follow a carefully planned design. This was not a city that grew by accident. It was engineered. The truth was far more complicated than anyone could have imagined. Long before the pyramids of Giza reached their greatest glory, communities had already begun settling along the Indus River and its surrounding plains. Around 7000 BC, one of the earliest farming settlements emerged at Mehrgarh in what is now Pakistan. People cultivated wheat and barley. They domesticated cattle, sheep, and goats. They learned pottery, craftsmanship, and early forms of trade. Generation after generation, these farming villages expanded. Knowledge accumulated. Communities grew richer. Trade routes stretched farther across Asia. No one living there could have imagined that their descendants would eventually create one of humanity's first great urban civilizations. But this was only the beginning. By approximately 2600 BC, dozens of villages had evolved into enormous cities. Among them, two names would eventually astonish modern archaeologists: Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. For centuries, they lay hidden beneath layers of earth. Local villagers unknowingly removed ancient bricks from these ruins to build houses and railway lines during the 19th century. Only later did archaeologists realize that those ordinary-looking bricks belonged to a civilization older than almost anyone had imagined. When excavations began during the 1920s, the discoveries stunned the world. Entire streets emerged from beneath the soil. Massive public buildings appeared. Sophisticated drainage systems remained astonishingly intact despite thousands of years underground. Historians suddenly realized that South Asia had once been home to one of history's greatest civilizations. Walking through Mohenjo-daro would have felt remarkably modern. Its streets followed a carefully planned grid. Houses often contained private bathrooms. Wastewater flowed into covered drains beneath the streets. Some homes even had indoor wells. Imagine living in a city where engineers had already solved sanitation problems more than 4,000 years ago. Many medieval European cities would not achieve comparable urban planning until thousands of years later. What happened next shocked archaeologists. The bricks themselves revealed extraordinary precision. Across hundreds of cities, builders consistently used standardized brick proportions. This suggests remarkable organization, some central authority, or perhaps shared engineering traditions. ensured remarkable consistency across an enormous geographical region. Yet unlike Egypt or Mesopotamia, no giant statues of kings dominated these cities. No grand palaces clearly identified royal rulers. No monumental temples towered above every neighborhood. This raises one of history's greatest unanswered questions. Who governed the Indus Valley Civilization? Historians still debate this today. Some believe powerful priestly elites directed society. Others argue that merchant councils or local administrators coordinated urban life. Still others suggest a decentralized system unlike any other ancient civilization. Because their writing remains undeciphered, certainty continues to escape us. Imagine walking through the marketplace of Harappa. The morning sun warms carefully paved streets. Merchants display colorful beads carved from carnelian. Copper tools glisten beside finely crafted pottery. Cotton textiles, among the earliest ever produced by humanity, hang from wooden stalls. The smell of fresh bread drifts through the air. Children chase one another between market stalls while craftsmen carefully polish gemstones destined for distant lands. The city hums with quiet confidence. Trade was the lifeblood of this civilization. Archaeological discoveries reveal goods traveling hundreds, even thousands, of kilometers. Shells arrived from distant coastlines. Lapis lazuli came from Afghanistan. Copper traveled from Rajasthan and Oman. Evidence suggests merchants from the Indus Valley even traded with Mesopotamia. Ancient Mesopotamian records mention a distant land called Meluha. Many historians believe this mysterious kingdom was the Indus Valley Civilization. Imagine a merchant loading his boat with finely crafted beads, ivory carvings, cotton cloth, and precious stones. He begins a journey down the Indus River toward the Arabian Sea. From there, ships cross dangerous waters toward ports in Mesopotamia. Months later, exotic goods from the Indus Valley appear in distant cities such as and Lagash. The ancient world was far more interconnected than many people realize. One lesser-known fact continues to fascinate researchers. Archaeologists have discovered standardized weights across numerous Indus cities. Tiny stone cubes were carefully crafted with astonishing accuracy. Merchants hundreds of kilometers apart used nearly identical measurement systems. Such precision reveals a highly organized economy built upon trust and consistency. But perhaps the greatest mystery lies in something much smaller. Tiny seals. Thousands of carved seals have been discovered. Each contains beautifully engraved animals: bulls, elephants, rhinoceroses, unicorn-like creatures, and short inscriptions written in the mysterious Indus script. More than 400 distinct symbols have been identified. Despite decades of research using modern computers and artificial intelligence, no one has conclusively deciphered them. Every attempt has produced new theories. None has gained universal acceptance. Think about that for a moment. An entire civilization is speaking directly to us. Its words survive. Its symbols remain perfectly preserved. Yet we cannot understand a single complete sentence. The people of the Indus Valley are reaching across 4,000 years. We simply cannot answer them. The mystery grows even deeper. Unlike Egypt, no royal tombs overflowing with treasure have been found. Unlike Mesopotamia, no long historical inscriptions celebrate military victories. Weapons exist, but relatively few compared with other Bronze Age civilizations. Archaeologists have found little evidence of massive warfare. Could this civilization have developed differently from its neighbors? Could trade and organization have mattered more than conquest? Or are we simply missing crucial evidence still buried beneath the earth? What happened next would make the mystery even greater. Around the peak of its prosperity, the Indus Valley Civilization expanded to include more than 1,000 known settlements spread across present-day Pakistan, northwest India, and beyond. It had become one of the largest urban civilizations on Earth. Its future appeared limitless, yet within only a few centuries, these magnificent cities would begin to empty. Their streets would fall silent, their drains would clog with dust, their houses would be abandoned. The civilization that seemed destined to endure forever was approaching a turning point that historians still struggle to explain. and the reason for its disappearance remains one of the greatest mysteries in all of ancient history. At the height of its power, the Indus Valley Civilization stood among the greatest achievements of the ancient world. Stretching across more than 1,000,000 square kilometers, it encompassed over 1,000 settlements connected by rivers, trade routes, and remarkably consistent standards of construction. From the bustling streets of Mohenjo-daro to the thriving city of Harappa, life appeared organized, prosperous, and stable. To an ordinary citizen, the future must have seemed secure. Every morning, merchants opened their shops as the first rays of sunlight illuminated the baked brick streets. Potters shaped clay into elegant vessels. Metalworkers forged copper tools. Jewelers carefully drilled tiny carnelian beads with astonishing precision. Farmers harvested wheat, barley, peas, and sesame from fertile fields, nourished by seasonal floods. Children carried water from neighborhood wells. Artisans carved beautiful seals from soft stone. Boats traveled along rivers, carrying goods to distant lands. The civilization seemed unstoppable. But beneath this picture of prosperity, subtle changes had already begun. The truth was far more complicated than anyone living there could have imagined. Nature, which had once given life to the civilization, slowly began changing. Modern geological studies suggest that river systems across the region shifted over centuries. Some rivers gradually changed course. Others became less reliable. Seasonal flooding became increasingly unpredictable. For communities whose survival depended upon agriculture, even small environmental changes could have enormous consequences. Fields that once produced abundant harvests yielded less grain. Villages that had depended upon nearby rivers suddenly found themselves farther from reliable water sources. Entire communities faced difficult choices: stay and hope conditions improved, or leave everything behind. Historians still debate this today. Some researchers argue that climate change played the central role in the civilization's decline. Evidence suggests that the South Asian monsoon gradually weakened around 2000 BC, reducing rainfall across large parts of the region. Without dependable rains, farming became increasingly difficult. Others believe earthquakes may have altered river systems, redirecting water away from major cities. Still others argue that no single catastrophe destroyed the civilization. Instead, multiple challenges accumulated over generations until urban life became impossible to sustain. What happened next shocked everyone. The great cities did not appear to burn. There is little evidence of widespread invasion. No massive battlefields have been discovered. No victorious king recorded the conquest of Harappa or Mohenjo-daro. Instead, something quieter happened. People simply began to leave. Imagine walking through Mohenjo-daro during its final centuries. The streets are no longer as crowded. Some houses stand empty. Public buildings receive fewer repairs. The once pristine drainage systems begin filling with silt. Merchants no longer arrive as frequently from distant lands. Markets grow quieter each passing year. The city is not destroyed in a single dramatic moment. It slowly loses its heartbeat. One family packs their belongings onto ox carts. Another leaves by boat. Others travel eastward in search of better farmland. Generation after generation, the population shrinks. Eventually, entire neighborhoods fall silent. Nature begins reclaiming what humanity had built. Wind carries dust through abandoned streets. Rainwater seeps into crumbling walls. Centuries pass. The cities disappear beneath layers of earth. One of the greatest civilizations in history vanishes from memory. But this was only the beginning. Even as the great urban centers declined, life did not suddenly end. Many people simply adapted. Archaeological evidence shows that smaller farming communities continued across the region. Rather than living in enormous planned cities, people settled in villages better suited to changing environmental conditions. Civilization itself survived. Only its great cities disappeared. One lesser-known fact continues to puzzle archaeologists. Unlike Egypt or Mesopotamia, very few large-scale weapons have been discovered in Indus Valley cities. Swords are rare. Military fortifications appear limited compared with neighboring civilizations. This has led some scholars to suggest that trade, administration, and economic cooperation may have been more important than military conquest. Of course, historians caution against assuming the civilization was entirely peaceful. Conflict undoubtedly existed. But the archaeological record paints a picture quite different from many other Bronze Age societies. Then, there is the mystery of religion. Thousands of artifacts have been recovered. Small terracotta figurines, animal carvings, sacred-looking seals, images of horned figures seated in meditative postures. Some scholars believe these objects may represent early religious traditions that later influenced beliefs in South Asia. Others disagree. Historians still debate this today. Without understanding the Indus script, certainty remains impossible. Perhaps the most famous structure ever discovered is the Great Bath of Mohenjo-daro. Unlike a royal palace or military fortress, this remarkable building appears to have served ceremonial or ritual purposes. Carefully waterproofed bricks surrounded a large central pool. Staircases descended into clean water. Drainage systems emptied and refilled the basin. The engineering remains astonishing. Imagine standing beside the Great Bath during an important ceremony. The morning sun reflects across still water. Priests, or perhaps community leaders, gather nearby. Citizens watch in respectful silence. Water may have symbolized purification, renewal, or spiritual life, but because no written explanation survives, we can only speculate. That uncertainty makes the civilization even more fascinating. Every discovery answers one question while creating two more. How was society governed? Who were its rulers? What language did they speak? What stories did parents tell their children? What songs echoed through these streets? No one knows. Thousands of seals speak in a language humanity has forgotten. And until that script is deciphered, much of the Indus Valley Civilization remains locked behind one of history's greatest mysteries. Around the halfway point of our journey, if you're enjoying this documentary, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us continue creating cinematic documentaries, exploring the forgotten civilizations, legendary empires, and greatest mysteries of human history. Because the most extraordinary discovery about the Indus Valley Civilization has yet to come. In the final part, we'll explore how archaeologists rediscovered this lost civilization after thousands of years, examine the greatest unanswered mysteries surrounding its undeciphered script, and uncover why the legacy of the Indus Valley continues to shape our understanding of human civilization today. More than 3,000 years passed after the great cities of the Indus Valley fell silent. Empires rose and collapsed. New religions spread across Asia. Kings built magnificent capitals. Armies marched across the subcontinent. Yet beneath the soil, one of humanity's greatest civilizations remained hidden. Its streets slept in darkness. Its houses slowly crumbled beneath layers of dust. Its story was forgotten. It was as though the civilization had never existed. The truth was far more complicated. During the 19th century, workers constructing railway lines across British India unknowingly removed thousands of ancient baked bricks from mysterious mounds. The bricks were exceptionally strong and perfectly shaped, making them ideal for railway construction. No one realized they were dismantling cities that had stood for over 4,000 years. Imagine loading ancient bricks onto a train without knowing they had once formed the walls of one of the world's first great civilizations. History itself was being carried away, piece by piece. Fortunately, curiosity soon replaced ignorance. In the early 20th century, archaeologists began carefully examining the strange mounds. In 1921, excavations at Harappa revealed something extraordinary. The following year, excavations at Mohenjo-daro uncovered an even greater surprise. Entire neighborhoods emerged from beneath the earth. Wide streets, brick houses, covered drainage systems, public buildings, granaries, private wells. The archaeological world was stunned. Until then, many historians believed that Egypt and Mesopotamia represented the earliest great urban civilizations. Now a third civilization stood beside them. And in many ways, it was every bit as sophisticated. What happened next shocked everyone. The more archaeologists uncovered, the larger the civilization became. New settlements appeared across Pakistan, northwest India, and neighboring regions. Today, more than 1,000 Indus Valley sites have been identified, with new discoveries continuing to reshape our understanding of its immense scale. This was not a single city. It was an entire civilization connected across enormous distances. One of its greatest mysteries remains the undeciphered script. Thousands of seals, pottery fragments, and small objects carry short inscriptions composed of unique symbols. Some inscriptions contain only 4 or 5 signs. Others are slightly longer. Despite decades of research by linguists, archaeologists, and computer scientists, no universally accepted translation exists. Why? Because unlike Egyptian hieroglyphs, no bilingual inscription, like the Rosetta Stone, has ever been found. Without a key linking the symbols to a known language, every proposed translation remains uncertain. Historians still debate this today. Some believe the script represents an early Dravidian language. Others suggest it belongs to a completely unknown language family. A few scholars have even questioned whether the symbols represent a full writing system at all, although that view remains controversial. Until new evidence emerges, the voices of the Indus people remain silent. Imagine holding one of these tiny seals in your hand. Its symbols were carved by someone who expected them to be understood. 4,000 years later, we can admire the craftsmanship, but we cannot read the message. It is one of archaeology's greatest unsolved puzzles. Another fascinating mystery concerns leadership. Where are the kings? Egypt left colossal statues of pharaohs. Mesopotamia celebrated rulers through inscriptions and monuments. The Indus Valley offers no unmistakable royal palaces, no grand royal tombs, and no monumental inscriptions glorifying individual rulers. This raises remarkable questions. Was power shared among councils? Did merchants guide society? Did priests oversee administration? Or are the true centers of power still waiting to be discovered beneath unexcavated ruins? The answers remain hidden beneath the earth. One lesser-known fact highlights the civilization's extraordinary craftsmanship. Archaeologists have discovered beads with holes so incredibly small and precise that modern researchers still marvel at the techniques used to manufacture them. Without modern machinery, ancient artisans produced jewelry of astonishing quality. Their work traveled hundreds of kilometers through vast trade networks. The Indus people were not isolated. They were connected to the wider Bronze Age world. Their ships sailed the Arabian Sea. Their merchants traded with Mesopotamia. Their ideas, goods, and technologies crossed borders long before the concept of globalization existed. But perhaps their greatest achievement was something far less dramatic than war or conquest. It was organization. Their standardized bricks, uniform weights, advanced drainage systems, reliable water supply, carefully planned streets. These innovations transformed daily life. They demonstrate that civilization is not measured only by monuments or military victories. It is also measured by how people live together, by how clean their cities remain, by how efficiently they solve practical problems, by how they build communities that endure. The legacy of the Indus Valley Civilization extends far beyond its mysterious disappearance. Many agricultural practices continued for centuries. Trade routes influenced later cultures. Urban planning principles revealed remarkable engineering knowledge. Although direct cultural links remain debated, the civilization occupies a foundational place in the history of South Asia. Its influence echoes through time, even when the evidence is incomplete. And perhaps that is what makes this civilization so captivating. Unlike many ancient societies, it refuses to reveal all of its secrets. Every archaeological discovery answers one question while creating several new ones. Every excavation uncovers another mystery. Every undeciphered seal reminds us that history is never truly finished. There are still stories waiting beneath the ground, still voices waiting to be heard, still chapters of humanity's past waiting to be written. The Indus Valley Civilization reminds us that greatness is not guaranteed to survive in memory. a civilization can flourish for centuries, build magnificent cities, master engineering, create thriving trade networks, and still be forgotten until someone begins to dig. Its rediscovery transformed our understanding of the ancient world forever. It proved that human civilization developed independently in multiple regions. It challenged long-held assumptions about the origins of cities, government, trade, and technology. Most importantly, it reminded us that history is filled with remarkable civilizations whose stories remain incomplete. Perhaps one day, a new archaeological discovery will unlock the Indus script. Perhaps a forgotten inscription still lies buried beneath the soil, waiting to become the civilization's own Rosetta Stone. If that day ever comes, humanity will finally hear the voices of people who have remained silent for more than 4,000 years. Until then, the Indus Valley Civilization stands as one of history's greatest mysteries, a testament to human ingenuity, resilience, and the enduring desire to build, create, and connect. Its cities may have fallen, its language may remain unread, but its legacy continues to inspire archaeologists, historians, and curious minds across the world. The story of the Indus Valley is not simply the story of a lost civilization. It is the story of humanity itself, our ability to innovate, adapt, and leave behind traces that outlive us by thousands of years. If you enjoyed this documentary and want to explore more forgotten civilizations, ancient empires, and the greatest mysteries of history, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new documentary. Now I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think caused the fall of the Indus Valley Civilization? And do you believe its script will ever be deciphered? Share your opinion in the comments below. I read every comment, and I'd love to hear your perspective.